Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Thursday, May 18th, and you have tuned into the NFT Morning Show. If it's your first time listening, we run this show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, each and every weekday, where we discuss all things NFTs, crypto technology, entertainment, gaming, finance, and just about everything in between. I'm your host, P.O., here with my co-host, Nifty Nick, funniest man in the business. Signal, the host of Artist Spotlight here at the Nifty, the weather reporter extraordinaire. Love hearing her sophisticated takes on the NFT market. Absolutely love having her on the show. Easy Eats Bodega, the dog behind Bodoggos, the host of GM Market Talk, day trader specialist. Absolutely love hearing him talk about where the market is going day after day. Kix, the CEO of Crypto Raiders Gaming Studio, their game Cyber Stadium is popping over $200,000 in the prize pool. 100% of that goes to the players. Love seeing Kix continue to innovate on the gaming side. We got Spencer of Spencer Ventures fame and fortune, running the most successful NFT fund in the business. I'm assuming. I don't know if we have charts and graphs that demonstrate that, but I got a hunch that that's the case. Of course, Clemente, the producer behind the scenes, would not be able to do the show without him. And normally I would throw to Bunny here, but Bunny said he's got a sore throat. I wonder if it's from talking to Ben.eth last night. Over 2,000 concurrent listeners in that show for Bunny. So shout out to Bunny on that, but I know he's taking a sick day today. Before I get into it, Nifty Nick, how you doing this morning, bud?
How you doing, Nick?
Can everybody else ask? I mean, geez, I'd like more.
Easy.
Nick, how's it going?
Nick, how he's doing?
How you feeling today, Nick?
Sig?
How's tricks, Nick?
How's tricks, buddy? Spencer, why don't you ask Nick how he's doing?
Nick, how you doing?
What is that echo?
He's on the wrong mic. See, we had to figure out that Spencer was on the wrong mic.
That was an audio test. That was secretly an audio test.
Everybody passed. We've got one bug. Anyway, Nick, you said you started watching the Conor McGregor documentary last night. Am I right about that?
Yeah, and then I woke up and worked out a little because I was like, dude, I'm just being lazy. Like, this guy, I was watching him and I'm just like, he had a couple sayings in there. One was like, stop making promises to yourself that you don't keep. And I think that like even small ones, and he was just going through how he was doing that. I mean, he's not like perfect. It seems like he essentially, I mean, he goes through intense training cycles. It feels like this on and off kind of like
fight
process.
Camp.
Yeah. And so as he's going into it, it's just like an intense level of training to a degree, which is heavily based on like cutting, but also obviously obviously the fighting component of it is
there's some intensity to that for sure.
It's a key component of that, not just lifting weights. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting seeing that, and I'm like, I'm just watching it, being like, damn, dude, you soft, man, soft. You gotta step it up. How are you not gonna be like Conor McGregor? Just out there dominating. And I think the thing that's interesting, I mean, the narrative that they told, I'm assuming he's the lead producer on this show. I would, or UFC.
Well, sure. I mean, regardless, they definitely said, like, are you okay with us presenting this in this way? Because, like, he wants it to be presented like he's a hero, I'm sure.
Yeah, and the way and the common refrain was just like, you're so successful, why are you still doing this? And there's a valid question to that. I mean, like, he's breaking bones. Like, it's not like,
oh yeah,
it's not like you're just like showing up to the office and being like, they ask me why I do this, but here I am back at my desk, baby. Yet again, they say, oh, you got millions of dollars, but you're still showing up at your desk. Here I am making those sacrifices day in and day out. This dude, like, breaks his hand, breaks his leg, breaks his ankle. Like, there's like one thing after the next, and you're just like he's putting his body through tremendous stress. I don't
think you should sell any of us short, because I have lower back pain. I can explain it a little bit. I'm sitting at a computer 12 hours a day. So I mean, like,
dude, I have to I use a standing desk so that I can alternate between standing and sitting, so that I can stay on my A game, and And so I think that that sort of level of commitment is deserved of massive fame, fortune, and success. I don't know. It was still interesting. By the real documentary, I forgot the guy who was playing, but it was a 3-part fight.
Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the majority of it. It was really that first fight with Khabib, and then basically like his journey through this 3-part fight and his individual, personal trials and tribulations, the community service that he had to do associated with getting in beef with, I guess that was with Khabib's team leading up to that fight. And then showing this just like reflective monk-like persona, thanks to him now having some children. He's a changed man. He's a mature man. He's an adult, and I think that was that was a key thing. So I don't know. It was interesting. It was entertaining. I always look back to Jiro Dreams of Sushi as like sort of like the starting point for a lot of these sort of sensationalized documentary style meets cinematography, like film-like cinematography, where they're really embellishing the character of this person who's going on there, and you're sort of like, yeah. Anyways, but regardless, it was inspiring and it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to observe.
I mean, that's music to my ears. The idea of you watching that and getting pumped up and being like, I got to work out harder.
Well, I also
awesome.
was trying to figure out what's wrong with you as a result of watching this, and being like, yeah, I want to do these fights. And there's a lot of people that are into BJJ and all that other stuff. And I'm just like, why?
I do not want, to be clear, I do not want to compete in an MMA bout. That is not something that I want to do. But training martial arts in a friendly environment is pretty fun.
Yes.
We're not hurting each
tell you
other
what,
like that.
Nick
There's another.
Go ahead.
I was say there's like, if you don't want to fight, when I have like a really long run to do and I don't want to do it, I always put the audio book on of David Goggins, and I don't know if you guys know who he is.
Yeah.
He would be like a Conor McGregor, but like outside of fighting. And you just put these guys on in your ears, and you just feel like such a loser, and it makes you just want to keep running and be like, I'm gonna be David Goggins today. So
dude,
Conor
David Goggins needs therapy. Like his. He was describing like the book opens with his like mom getting dragged downstairs and beaten. And intense. And he's like, oh, that's the beginning. Yeah. And it seems like the rest of that book is his journey and kind of taking out that trauma that existed in his childhood on his physical body and rather not in a healthy way, because later he's like, yeah, after 15 years, I found out about yoga, or however long it was. And so like, he was literally running in boots.
Those are sorts of a new realm.
Yeah, I mean, like, the guy's really intense. Clemente, you can cut the audio. Yeah, he's really intense. I mean, speaking of fighters, when John Jones, the consensus greatest fighter of all time in MMA, was making his comeback in the documentary ahead of the fight, he meets David Goggins. And when he meets him, they just show the uncut, like, meeting, right? So there's no camera cutting or anything. There is no pleasantry. They literally shake hands, and he's like, big fan of you, bro. And David Goggins just looks at him. He's like, he's trying to get in your head. like no hesitation. He's just like, what are you gonna do? And like John Jones is just intensely like nodding his head. It's like there is no pleasantry with David Goggins. The moment you meet him for the first time in your life, he's just like, you're about to fight a war. So yeah.
Well, he's too. I mean, it's clear that like he set up, like it's how he dealt with trauma. Like he's still successful and like he's accomplished a lot. So it's not like it's all bad. But it was just interesting seeing some of his stories. Was almost like when people make fun of the extreme Gary V quotes, which is timely.
Well,
like
the Gary V quotes are the best one. It's just like, I just focus on pretending that my entire family has been kidnapped and I'm tied to a chair and I have to watch them get tortured. Like, he really says stuff like this. Probably people that haven't heard it think that this is hyperbole. No. He actually says stuff like that.
And so like that side of things is ridiculous, but it's like with David, it's like combined with like physical trauma that he's enduring. Like it's not typical strength training.
Yeah,
No, it's running 100 miles.
To summarize, Conor McGregor, David Goggins, both those guys, they destroy their body instead of going to therapy. All of us on this show, we just trade NFTs instead of going to therapy.
And I've been going to therapy. So if you want some insight on that, Kix,
Right.
I can inform you. And remember, I tweeted last night, you're deserving of love. Okay?
I did
remember
see that. I was
Yes,
like,
I am.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Pio rolls his eyes because he hasn't been to therapy. It's like so apparent. Pio, show everybody your face right now. I know it makes you feel uncomfortable, but we're going to work through it, man. I love you. I love you.
You're a therapy coach.
He's trying to get in your head. He said to go to therapy. Instead, you got to run 100 miles. Be trained like a SEAL. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into the show. What a fun intro. I like the fun intros every once in a while. We're going to discuss the surge on 0n1Force. I also want to give the little, hold on, where's like the victory bell? There's got to be a little ding, ding, ding of the victory bell over here because Spencer, I want to say 1 calendar week ago, I think gun to my head, I would say it was Thursday of last week. Maybe it was Wednesday, but it was
a gun to your head, Pio. What day was it?
He's got a gun to your head. So one week ago, we had Spencer on the show. Spencer proactively brought up the collab or whatever, the announcement of the partnership between, what is the name of the organization that made ApeCoin, Spencer?
So Horizon Labs Ventures is the group that they collabed with, which is half of the group that made ApeCoin.
Okay, so half of the group that made ApeCoin, they announced 0n1Force announced an official partnership. This is after everyone already knew that a very legitimate, is it a private equity firm acquired 0n1Force?
You could call it a private equity. They're like half private equity, half venture.
Okay, so basically new ownership in town, like acquisition of 0n1Force for 7 figures. You get the partnership with one half of the ApeCoin team. And then, you're talking about a market where meme land is pumping because of the meme coin speculation. Spencer at 0.62 0n1Force brings it up 1 week ago. Everybody in the comments is like, nobody's going to buy your bags, bruh. Ain't nobody want 0n1Force. Literally over and over again, people are like trying to laugh and take a victory lap on Spencer. And here we are with 0n1Force at 1.5 each. So obviously we're going to talk about that. We'll also talk about how a Blur bid bot was tricked into losing 100 Ethereum in 15 minutes. I mean, you got to love some of the activity in this space. I almost wonder like if that was intentional because it's just such a big blunder, but we'll have to see. And then we're going to break down some of the best and worst calls from 3 months. We're at 3 months of a lot of people's favorite segment, buy, sell, or send it to zero. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Got a lot to talk about. Before we get into the weather report, I just want to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor of today's show. You all know them. It's Phantom Wallet. So Phantom is the leading wallet on Solana, but guess what? It's coming for you on Ethereum and Polygon. So there's already millions of users. There's a user experience that is far superior from its competitors because you can showcase your NFTs across all 3 networks. That's Solana, Ethereum, and Polygon, and manage all of them in one location without switching wallets. So we have the browser extension, but also a super legit app on both iOS and Android. You can pin your NFTs to your profile. You can hide spam. But one of the best features, in my opinion, is the ability to directly list your NFTs and edit their prices on the different marketplaces without actually leaving the app. So you don't have to go to the marketplace platform. You can do it right from Phantom. And, in times where the platforms are having problems, that's a really cool feature. So you can actually import your ETH wallet through your seed phrase to Phantom. You don't have to send your NFTs, every which way. So what are you waiting for? Upgrade to Phantom. Go to phantom.app. That's phantom.app and import your ETH wallet to get started. Keeping the show moving, let's go over to the weather report. What was
Wrong
that?
fucking button, dude. My bad, dude. I'm going to be on point today. Today starts on the 18th of May, 2023. Volume looking, I don't know, not bad. 23.6 million coming in. Blur above 10. OpenSea 5.8. So we're pretty consistent this week. We need to get Ordinals volume up there. Leaders, we're looking at Apes 46.3, Mutants 9.9, just below 10. Punks just below 50, 49.4. Azuki, a little bit of a pullback there, 14.2. Captains 8.8. D-Gods 8.4. Pudgy's 4.6 and Moonbirds 2.0. So slight pullback going into Thursday. Over the past 24 hours, Bitcoin Frog Ordinals had the most volume over the past 24 hours of all major NFT projects. It did 2.2 million in trading volume, double the trading volume of the second highest grossing project, Heavy Metal. The Ledger storm continues after the company tweeted that it has always been possible to write firmware that facilitates private key extraction, and customers trusted Ledger not to deploy such firmware, whether they knew it or not. That swoosh public mint is delayed again for another week after the team expects more than 350K members to hit the site, and they are not aware of Cloudflare. Mint is pushed to next week, Wednesday, the 24th of May. Lastly, Blur bidding went horrifically wrong for a malfunctioning bot after 500 heavy metals were dumped on it. Twitter account Hanwei Cheng tricked the bot into placing bids 0.3 ETH above the floor. The bot owner lost more than 200K. Hanwei Cheng did that because the bot was actually set up to mirror his activities, his bidding, even if he bid above the floor. So he went and tricked that bot. Crypto, Bitcoin 27.2, ETH 1800, Solana just below 21 bucks. ETH still chilling around that 3.3, 3.4 range. That's your weather report from Captain Kicks. Back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report as usual, Kicks. Some updates from the Nifty Daily Digest. Sign up at thenifty.com. You're going to need an account on that platform at thenifty.com to claim today's free NFT, which will be released later on in the show. So what are you waiting for? Get on there. Blur has released its latest user interface update, allowing users to view expanded and detailed sales data for collections, and also tease the upcoming rollout of trait-based support as its next feature. Blur ain't fat and happy. Blur ain't slowing down. They're continuing to ship updates and really at this point dominate. Next two stories are a little bit outside.
You love Blur, huh? You big fan? You big fan of them killing the market?
I know. You can tell Nick didn't get an invite to the Blur party at NFT NYC via DM.
Blur is not killing the market. Anyway, two stories here from outside the NFT space. The Interior Ministry of Iraq has imposed a ban on U.S. dollar transactions to enhance the use of the Iraqi dinar.
What the hell? I don't know. What is this?
What this story is. In foreign exchange markets,
what is this story?
To join the BRICS
Alliance
alliance.
is trying to move world market.
It's all about BRICS, baby. It's all about the BRICS. I'm telling you right now, BRICS and the Singaporean dollar.
This one in. Look, easy.
It's all about the BRICS and the Singaporean dollar, baby. That's it. I'm telling you.
This got put in the newsletter?
This got put in the newsletter. If you didn't know about, I mean, if it was a Bitcoin newsletter, it would totally make sense. I think for people that are trying to degen trade JPEGs, I think they'd probably breeze past that one. Last one, the UK Treasury Committee recommended that crypto trading be regulated as gambling, which would place oversight under the Gambling Commission and potentially subject
that's fair.
trades to gambling taxes. All right,
anyway. A good story I added too, though, about Pakistan last night shutting all cryptocurrency exchanges overnight. Just like they just shut them down. You can't onboard or offboard anything that was on there. And that was actually like a big swing from an international market, just saying, yeah, we're not doing this and we'll figure out regulation in the next few years.
I mean, look, the world, it's choke point global edition against crypto. But you know what happens when you try to take something away? People say, well, why are you trying to take that away from me, huh? What's the deal with that thing?
Alcohol away from us. Remember that?
Prohibition. Very nice, Kicks. Everybody gets
by the way,
now.
Kicks, adjust your camera. Like you're off the screen.
I can go off camera if I want for a little bit, and then I can come back in when I'm
He said he tried to be on point, and I almost immediately made the comment, well, you're literally off camera. I feel like out of all the things that are easy to structure, it's like just physically point the camera at yourself. Like that's probably the easiest thing.
It's been a really long week at the Kniper House, okay?
Okay. So check it out. So look, we can talk about Ben. We can talk about 0n1Force. Nick, what would you like to chat about first? I'm curious.
0n1Force works because that pumps my bags. You know, I entered this. It was what do you call it? One of the best purchases ever. You know, I purchased it right after Spencer mentioned it at 0.6. And and the transaction went through at 1.5. So that's just because of slow Ethereum. But you know, now I'm a holder. Very
there you
excited
go.
about it.
Iconic buy.
Easy literally while we were in a meeting was like buy 0n1Force.
So you know what, Nick? I gotta pick my bone with you here. I talk about 0n1Force on the show, and you sleep. But Easy calls you up and tells you to buy it, and suddenly we're aping.
There was a couple factors. I did say that you were early on them, but it was also there was a bunch of other good wallets I saw buying too. So it was a confluence of wallets and interactive traders that I was like, okay. And I even said to Nick, I feel like we're late, but I want to add more if this trades back down towards 1 after this pump.
Yeah, I think that there could be more to run. I'm actually surprised that things didn't pull back more after this pump. Like, because I think a lot of people did get an opportunity to enter at the half an ETH, and I get it. You know, if something goes from half an ETH to 1.5, like it's reasonable for people to take profits. Like it went as high as like 1.7. I think we saw a few people sell there, but I think this is one of those collections where, as a function of time, it's transitioning towards a little bit longer term holders. It was also interesting to see there was obviously like yesterday, one of the catalysts. So I bought the like rarest Oni. So there's like 7 of the like, super rare TAD KM41s. So I bought one of those for like 33 ETH. Someone else immediately like 10 minutes later bought another like rare trait for like 17 ETH. And I think those two together sent a lot of attention to it. And then there was just a lot of buy pressure suddenly. And I feel like there's a lot of people waiting to try and accumulate positions that were just like, oh no, like Nick, we're like, like it's running. I gotta buy my position now.
So Spencer, to recap, so Spencer, did you first start accumulating around the time of NFT Paris? Was that when you first, like right when the announcement of the acquisition? And what was the floor at that time?
I've been accumulating since, I actually accumulated way before NFT Paris. So I've been accumulating since about like a couple of weeks before the acquisition announcement. So my entry price is like, I was even buying some at like 1.5, so I've been buying 0.5 to 1.5 range. I think my probably average entry is like around 1-ish. But I've also been looking for a lot of opportunities to snipe rarer Onis. I think that there's been a lot of like mispricing of mid-tier rares, etc., around floor. Like that's the opportunity I look for every time the floor runs. Is like, okay, the floor will run up for people just buying or bidding, but then like you'll just have the rare items at floor, which is, I think a pretty interesting facet of the collection. And then someone just like absolutely fumbled one of the rarest ones yesterday. Like, I think the lowest other sale for those has been like 70 ETH.
Oh, damn. And what did they sell it for?
33.
Oof. Did they just have it listed at that price for a while or something?
So that one has been listed for like a few months, but they keep ticking the price down. Like they're doing like a manual Dutch auction basically. And they took it from 40 to 33. And I was like, I was debating it. I had DMs to the guy and he hadn't responded. I even tweeted, you see my timeline. I tweeted at the guy who owned it, being like, "Hey, respond to my DMs." I was trying to negotiate OTC a lower price, and I just had this feeling like middle through yesterday. I realized I had a noun, and I was like, "Oh, I don't really want this noun." But if I WETH it, it's basically the noun plus 7 ETH to get this Oni, and I was like, "This is totally a trade worth doing."
Is it that one that we have on screen, Spencer?
Yeah, it is the god of love. So each of the 7 Onis is like a god of something. So the last one that sold was the god of war. She's the god of love. So, we're just spreading the good love, the vibes. All the hippies out there are happy.
Love, Spencer. Yo, you're deserving
love,
of it.
Man. You deserve it. You deserve love, Nick.
There you go. Kicks, any thoughts on Oni? I saw you on mute, and I saw that you're actually on camera.
Hey, no, I think it's a great trade. I mean, when I was busy getting ready for the move, so I didn't have much time to make a trade. But when Spencer, I'm pretty sure Spencer said something along the lines with 0n1Force that he gave the case for it. Then he thought that they retraced really significant because they made this run in like March. They made a similar run. They went almost up to 2 ETH, maybe 1.5 or something like that. And
I think they were over 2 ETH. I think they went to like 2.2.
Yeah. So like Spencer, I don't know, 7 or 10 days ago was like, it's pulled back now like 70% from there and nothing has changed fundamentally. If anything, maybe there's some more bullish catalyst. So that, I think, that was an awesome trade right there. Then Easy comes in and says, I want to hit the 1 ETH retrace. So yesterday I was around for like 20 minutes, looked at 0n1Force. It was sitting right at 1 ETH. So those were two great trade opportunities. One's like a 2x over 10 days. One's a 50% over 24 hours. I'm not going to buy it at 1.5 because double my money. It's got to get up to 3. But I think that trade from 1 or that trade from 0.5, 0.6 is awesome. And at the end of the day, man, there's just not that many, cool projects out there for people to, get attached to. So I think there's always room for a new strong founder to come in the scene. So I wish him the best of luck. I wish I traded it. I like money.
Well, you still have an opportunity to get in. Nick, how you feeling about your 1.5 ETH buy?
It's gonna look so genius.
Wait, I thought you bought at 1 ETH. I thought you were up.
No, 1.
I was up when it was at 1.75 after I bought. I triggered a run on the floor and it went up a 0.25 as I normally do, and unfortunately, it's since pulled back. So we're currently hovering at around break even. But who says that that's the last one that I pick up? Maybe Spencer Ventures is gonna lose out to me, who buys it at lower prices and really accumulates a massive bag. This will become one of O'Neill Holdings largest positions. O'Neill Ventures.
O'Neill and O'Neill. Signal, any thoughts on 0n1Force?
Yeah.
Any interest from your side?
I'm waiting. Yeah, Spencer's here. Great. Okay, so Spencer, my question is: are you bullish on Oni just because of the token side of things?
I think it's definitely part of it. I also think, like, if you look at a team that has big resources, and if you look at the playbook of that team, right? Like let's be very clear here. OFR, Old Fashioned Research, the group that bought 0n1Force, is all ex Binance executives. What was Binance's play? Binance's play was they weren't the most innovative firm, but what they saw is when they came in, they looked at all the other marketplaces and they said, okay, here's what every other marketplace is doing. We don't need to do a new thing. We just need to copy all of the best things from the existing marketplaces. So what I expect this team to do is come in with all of the resources you could ever want, right? Like OFR has very deep pockets. The management team has seen crypto play out before in other cycles. And I think they're going to come in there and say, okay, we have every resource that you could ever want. Let's see what's working amongst other projects and let's do the best version of it. And I think that when it comes to resources, when it comes to experiencing crypto, there just isn't a team that has more of either, right? Now, that may not play out here, right? It's not a guaranteed thing, but I don't know. I see there's a lot of potential, right? I think a lot of people have that thesis on like Kempai Pandas, right? Ice Bags has a lot of resources, is a lot of the thesis, but like the ex-Binance executive team is pretty well resourced.
When you asked the question what they were good at, I appreciated Kick's response, and I was going to just throw in there evading government sanctions and regulations. So that would be another thing they were really good at. Sorry, Signal, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, I like Spencer's thesis here. It's not so much that it's Horizon Labs, because we saw that they were also behind, well, yes, ApeCoin, but they were gonna do Gutter Cat Gang. That didn't go in the direction that they wanted. That's probably more because of regulatory clarity. But I like Spencer's thesis on that. When you have Horizon Labs, who's experienced in coins, plus a team who's experienced in crypto, plus a collection which was early enough that like it came out in 2021 and has seen the mistakes and the success stories, that over time potentially this could be one of the projects that is a success story by the end of the year. I just don't want to for people to think that there's a narrative that just because there's a project and then there's a token that somehow means success, because I think we've been through that period and we've seen that that's not always the case, and you need to have a good team behind it. So
I'm gonna
I'm with
put-
you. It's because of the team.
I'm gonna push back on you though on that though, because I do actually think that like a significant amount of this thesis is like token success. The times that we've seen tokens not be successful is when they're not exchange listed, right? Like we have actually not seen any instances of exchange listed tokens doing poorly. But that's also because
but when it hits the exchange and the normies buy, it gives it a little bit of a liquidity boost, right?
Pepe's down like 70% from getting on the exchange.
But it was
Okay.
successful.
But what's the market cap of Pepe?
I don't know, 700 million maybe roughly.
Yeah. Okay. What's the
I
market
call
cap
that
of
a
0n1Force
success.
right now? 0n1Force is at a $20 million market cap. If their token is what you're calling a failure of Pepe, which is a $700 million market cap, then I think
I'm just saying that when
there's
it
no way you lose money trading this.
I get what you're saying. You're saying it's not necessarily, it's like the fact that if it gets on an exchange, it'll get to a certain price regardless of what happens after it gets on an exchange.
Yeah.
I
And
see
do you
that.
think the ex executives of finance can't get a token listed on an exchange? Like
They
I
probably
think
can.
I think it just more matters what, like, yeah, short term, yes, that's great and good for liquidity, but I think long term it matters more like what the functionality of it's going to be in the ecosystem. Like, you know, is it hopefully it's better than like milk, you know, cool cats that I think I lost $5,000 on that.
I think they'll figure out not doing an uncapped token supply. That's
probably pretty smart.
High
I think
probability.
they'll be able to. I mean, I think they'll be able to figure that out, right? Like there's a lot of issues with milk that anyone who's designed a token before wouldn't have done.
So I traded. If you see that small little green part, I bought it somewhere in the green and then sold it when the green started going down. into the red.
Clemente, pull up ApeCoin though over the lifetime of it, and it looks the exact same.
Let's see.
Like do lifetime.
Big pump, red.
Yeah, so it's the exact same thing. But although that said, I mean, you're able to yield it right now, which I guess is that's a good thing. I actually wonder. I'm like, I have a mutant, but I'm not yielding this. That just seems.
It's literally free money.
Yeah. According to Spencer, that's one of the stronger trades of 2023.
Yeah, and even if you're not going to do that trade, the other trade that's also very profitable is just borrowing against it at 0% APR on Blur and then swapping it to Steth. Steth being Lido staked ETH, which yields about 7% in Ethereum.
My boy Steth.
Easy. What do you make? What's your game plan with OniForce? You also have exposure.
Yeah, I picked one up yesterday. I'm like right in around the 1.45 area. I bought it like right as I was telling Nick on that call. Just because, like I said, I saw a bunch of people that I trust trading, buying into it. I knew Spencer was wicked early on it, had the conviction. To his point, I probably should have gotten in right when he did. But I want to add more exposure if it retraces back towards like 1.1, 1.15. Because I do think we see a 2.5, 2.4 area for like a first take profit level. And honestly, if a token announcement comes out, seeing 3 ETH is not surprising, especially when you look at some of the other mid caps that have been holding fairly well around the 4.5 and higher floors. Like you look at potatoes, those things are at 3 ETH. You know, like why would OniForce not trade in a similar manner despite being a primary collection? So like that's kind of my mindset on it, and I don't mind taking a longer swing on this with averaging in on red days.
Do we think that the same buyers that buy Azuki and Memeland are going to be buying Oni?
I do. Yeah, especially when you look at who the founding team is or the acquisition team, doing some of the larger marketing aspects of Binance in Southeast Asia and getting a larger kind of market share there. I think that certainly can play in if they roll out a similar marketing trajectory.
Spencer, is the loan on Blur at the 0% loan, is that in ETH?
Yes, it's in ETH. So that's why if you swap to Steth, it's actually just like a pure interest rate arbitrage.
Okay.
He's a professional, Nick.
As long as it stays at 0. If it goes up above, then I gotta.
If they call it.
If it goes up above, or if Steth depegs, that's like how you get an issue, which has happened.
And you got to check regularly, right, to see if you
can put your email in, and it will email you updates whenever it gets refinanced. But if you have 0% interest rate loan, it will get refinanced every day because every 24 hours someone will refinance the loan. But it will usually be refinanced to a 0% loan. So one thing that you do in that case is like I often don't accept the top end of the borrow amount for because the chance that it gets refinanced below is different. But also you may want to except the top end of the borrow amount. Because if it gets refinanced below 0%, it usually means the floor is down. And so it's basically a put option on your NFT. Like taking a loan on Blur at 0% is a put option if it goes below the price that you've borrowed it at, right? And that's like a really that's actually the main reason that I'm taking these loans, more so than the interest rate arbitrage of like 7% is nice, but people don't understand Blend is actually an options protocol, and that's like the main thing here. Chilean Elvis is into the room. So for those of you not listening, there was like silence amongst the other speakers. Usually Nick interjects when I say stuff, but there was a YouTube comment pulled up on the live stream, which was after Clemente entered, was just Chilean Elvis has entered the chat, and all Nick was doing was sitting and chuckling while smiling. He does this thing on camera sometimes.
Well, so
I'm narrating for the people who can't see your beautiful face, Nick,
and
you know,
the great narration. Spencer with the great narration followed by, or that was following the great analysis of Blend and the opportunities that exist with it, with presenting several options. Nick, was there something you wanted to comment on with Chilean Elvis?
No, I was thinking about the lending thing. It sounds kind of complicated, but I could make like $1,000 a year. Although what you're saying is it's also a put option, because so you're saying in order to settle the loan, I settle it at the floor price, or I allow it to default and then just
you allow it to default, right? So like if like let's say you can currently borrow like 43 ETH against a Bored Ape at like 0% interest rate, right? The floor of Bored Apes right now
is 44 ETH is the high offer.
Yeah, but like 44 is not at 0%, so it's something like 43. Floor of Bored Apes is 46. So I mean, it's not unreasonable to think that Bored Apes go down 6 ETH, right? In which case you just default on the loan. And it's also not unreasonable to think that happens very acutely, right? Like someone could just dump 20 apes and then suddenly we're down like 10 ETH or whatever. And now you don't have to, like, you're downside protected there. So like the most you can lose on your ape if you borrowed at 0% interest rate is whatever. And then it doesn't matter because when that happens, right, the loan's going to go into auction and get refinanced up to a higher interest rate, but you don't care what interest rate is because you're not going to pay it, right? And this is different from like people are used to loans in real life where like it's bad if you don't repay your loan.
I don't pay mine back.
I mean, I don't know. I guess
that's how he's living in that house for free.
I know, that's why I couldn't get a mortgage.
He's moving.
That's like that was the joke I wanted to make, but I didn't know if Kix would be uncomfortable with me making the joke that Kix couldn't get a mortgage, so he had to just buy the house. Anyway. So Spencer or Nick, was there anything you wanted to add before I ask Spencer a question?
No.
So look, Spencer, you know, your fund hasn't bat 1,000, but like, you know, nobody bats 1,000, but obviously you got
999 POGs.
He accumulated Oni. I felt like it was like the accumulation started at 1.5 and it continued throughout the dip. It bought the bottom of the dip and then we're back up at 1.5. So obviously it very much so feels like Oni is shaping up to be a very successful trade. I remember you accumulated some captains at like 6 ETH, 5 ETH, right? Something like that.
I got some 6.4 ETH captains, some 2.7 ETH potatoes. Yeah.
That's good. What else are you looking at right now? You didn't buy any Miladies. You missed that one. Is there anything that you think is interesting that's either already out or going to come out?
I mean, I'm very curious to see how a lot of the Yuga stuff plays out. I haven't been buying as actively. I'm also like the big, I mean, we didn't talk about it today, but all of the Pudgy teasers are about the 18th of May, right? So I think we're going to start seeing the toy stuff. I think that's a very interesting volatility play, right? Like it's actually not obvious to me if that pushes Pudgy Penguin price up or down, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, the toys are the catalyst, but I don't know what needs to happen for people to want to buy more here. So like, I think it's really healthy for Pudgies if toys sell out, they pump hard or whatever. I could also see, a scenario where things happen today that and people just don't care. So I'm curious to see the market around Pudgies in general. But I think the next 2 quarters, I wouldn't be shocked if the overall NFT market bled pretty hard and continued to do so. Like I don't see obvious catalysts overall where everything goes up. So for me, it's like, I made those 2 trades and I haven't bought other NFTs in the last like 5 months besides those two, basically. Like I bought
Oni
a
and
lot of
Meme Land.
OnlyForce and I bought a bunch of Meme Land. And I think that that's reasonable, right? Like where I think you make money in this market is find high conviction, look for like what feels like a crazy entry. Like the last couple of weeks felt like crazy entries to OnlyForce, right? But that's just like, like again, and like we're at 1.5 and I'm not selling because like I don't care, right? Like this is a longer term play for me. I think these have upside like Pudgy. Like I think these can go to 5. They can go to 6. Like I think like call me crazy, but I think that like is potential here.
That has a 0 on it.
Yeah, they go to 50.
Put some ranch on that. Call it a meal. Hey, Spencer, you'd be proud of me. I'm actually dabbling a little bit on the Yuga side as well. So I went and I bid a bunch on the vessels, and I earned 28 blur points overnight and got 1 vessel. And I'm feeling kind of proud of myself. But I'm liking the vessels play right now because I'm just thinking that's the next. I feel like Yuga's really going to step into this like gaming with like a different kind of play to earn where it's not on a new token. Instead, they're like funding prize pools potentially for these different games. So I just threw out some bids. I'm trying to collect some of these down here. I think it could be good for a pump. Is the game supposed to come out in May? Didn't you say?
Comes out over the summer. They've moved Legends of Mara to the summer.
So well, yeah, this is a terrible trade then.
No, I like this trade. It's like approaching my targets too. You can get an other side expanded for sub 0.7 and a vessel for sub 0.3. So you can get in and now play the game for under an ETH, which to me feels like an EV positive play over an extended period of time. It's just knowing now you may not be able to play for 2 months. I'm just watching. This is like one of the projects I check daily to see what the price action looks like and where additional buyers will start to step in on both of these 2 assets. Because it's something that I want to play. I really enjoyed Dookie Dash. I enjoyed the mechanics behind it. So I'm definitely looking to see what's going to happen here. And if you look at their latest teaser, yeah, exactly. So eBring saw it too. The dog was actually fighting with the heavy metal in the latest comic. So that was like the last screen. And we know that there's some form of battle coming and with 2 different games. So I think the dogs are really interesting. I'm watching those closely. I'm not too interested in heavy metal at these price points until we see some buyers start to step in post reveal. But I'm really interested in vessels and other side expandeds.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's never a bad call. Spencer had brought up the idea of Yuga season. Right as Spencer was bringing up Pudgy Penguins, it's almost like he summoned the CEO of Pudgy Penguins, Luca Netz, who has joined us on the Twitter stage. Luca, how's it going?
It's going great. And Spence, it's winter in May, baby. It's ice, and ice age is upon us, Spence. It's penguin season.
It's penguin season?
It doesn't matter if they take the toys, how do people decide to perceive it. We're coming back to back to back like Jordan 96, 97, Spence.
Well, there you go.
I mean, can't argue with that logic.
You hear the confidence from Luca. Luca, you guys are shipping physical toys, and I know that that's the world that you come from, the Gel Blaster and the physical merchandise world. How excited are you about this rollout?
I'm stoked. I'm stoked to finally be able to ship these things. It's been a long process kind of getting there. And, for us, it's really the beginning. I think the toys mean a couple things. I think from a company and a brand perspective, I'm super excited to finally be able to separate myself from the dependencies of royalties and all of that nonsense and actually do what we do best, which is spread product around the world and move product and impact people in a positive way. So I'm excited for that. But I'm also excited for the NFT space because I think the toys, if you peel back the layers, I think mean a little bit more than people give it credit for. Every toy is licensed from the community. And this is the first mass market product that has ever been shipped where you've taken digital assets that people own. And from a brand, we license those assets and created products from them and are now bringing them to the world. I think that's a really interesting story. And then the second story that I think is really interesting and meaningful is we're not just bringing NFT IP and the story of Web3 to everyone around the world. We're also bringing technology because these toys come with a birth certificate. And on that birth certificate comes a QR code that unlocks, these awesome NFTs to put on your soulbound Pudgy Penguin. And it's a pretty deep experience. And so for those reasons, I think on its surface, I think many people might just think themselves, wow, they're launching toys. That's cool. Other people can do that. But I think if you pull back the layers and see, really what these toys are from a Web3 ethos perspective, them being licensed from the community, and then you tie in the fact that this is not only bringing, that NFT IP and NFT communities to the real world, but it's also bringing technology into the hands of everyday people. I mean, people are going to be creating blockchain wallets and getting their first NFTs and their first digital collectibles without them knowing. And I think that's really beautiful. And I really encourage everyone listening that when these toys release, if you have a friend or a family member that you want to get interested in the space, these toys are built and positioned to be the best vehicle for somebody's first touch points in Web3 and NFTs. And that was the purpose. And that's kind of like why we marketed it the way that we did. To me, it's the Trojan horse. It's this $10, $15, $20 item that you can buy for somebody. And if they follow the instructions, they'll be able to understand and get a feel for what trading NFTs and being a part of Web3 feels like. And I think that's really special. And that's what I'm most excited about. I'm most excited about the weeks to follow, where people are going to be getting their toys and all of the anecdotes and stories that are going to be told about how, a niece or a nephew or a son or a daughter is taking these toys, scanning these QR codes, making accounts, and participating in this deeper digital experience that is more than just a toy. On its face, it's a cute little lovable plushie, but if you peel back the layers, I think there's something more meaningful here, and that's what I'm most excited about.
I mean, that's awesome, man. And when I look at what you're doing, and then also Ice Bags of Campai Panda, like really emphasizing the physical merch and trying to basically just make the physical merch cool and desirable, and not shove the kind of digital assets, the NFTs, into the audience that's buying that merch's face, and letting them sort of organically figure it out over time. It's an interesting approach. You've taken an unconventional path in the Web3 space. Instead of creating a project from scratch and selling it and generating revenue from a primary sale and having that be your operating capital for your business, you actually purchased Pudgy Penguins. You acquired it for millions of dollars. So there was obviously a deep belief in the intellectual property, a belief in Web3. Right now, we're in a time of the market where liquidity, it just flat out isn't as strong as it used to be. And again, you're not in a position where you guys made a bunch of money off the primary sale. Obviously, there's been revenue from royalties, and you guys have sold other merch, and you guys are running a good business, of course. And you're introducing these physical collectibles. That's really cool. But what do you make of like the whole NFT space, where we're at now? Cyclically, like where we're at in the cycle, and how you think that the space is going to kind of evolve, say, over the next year?
Yeah, it's a fascinating one. I think this moment in time right now is where projects define their greatness. And so what I mean by that is these are the moments where you might not have a crazy run like you did in 2021 or 2022, where the right announcement takes you from 5 ETH to 20 ETH. And I guess that sucks. But I do believe that the whales and the power users are paying attention, so that when that liquidity comes back, they're going to ask themselves, who are the people that really defined how great they were during this bear? And who are the people that really separated themselves? And that's what I'm more concerned about. I'm more concerned about stacking the chips in my favor. And one of my favorite quotes ever was from Donda West in the Genius documentary. But she said to Kanye, "You can only deny greatness for so long. They will pay attention eventually." And so that's really what I'm trying to accomplish. I also think now's the time where people need to be looking at the mathematics of NFTs and how these are really sustainable long term. At the end of the day, NFTs are a really great trading mechanic. But if you really want real liquidity, investors have to come in. And there's a huge difference between a trader and an investor. And an investor really has a long-term horizon. But right now, it's such a sketchy type of market because those long-term theses have only been proven with a handful of projects. And I really believe that creating a sustainable revenue source, one that keeps you independent of having to make bad decisions, like minting more NFT collections when you don't have enough demand, ultimately taking all of the demand from all of the collections away when you do that, that has been, we've seen historically, the number one blue chip and mid chip killer has been people not knowing how to make money, wanting to make more money because they either run out or because greed gets the best of them. And then they make more NFT collections, pulling liquidity away from their core collection, and then ultimately screwing everybody, more importantly, screwing the holder, and really not screwing themselves. And so the sustainable revenue, and I made a tweet about it yesterday, like, don't underestimate the value and the utility that that brings to a community, because being financially independent when you're looking from a long-term horizon, an investor perspective, if the founder understands the mathematics of NFTs and the mathematics of supply and demand, you ultimately come to the conclusion that if you're going to win long-term, the only people that I think are going to win long-term, if you're looking at it from a really long horizon, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, are the people that figure out how to make money in the real world. Because if you're dependent on royalties, which we know we can't depend on that, that's like a variable you completely can't control with farmers and royalty percentages flip-flopping based on marketplaces, dictating that. You are then forced to, hey, if I can't make money on royalties, I'm going to make money on mints. And that again, you can take this thesis and this statement and apply it to all of your favorite projects from back in the bowl. What ruined them? And what ruined them was just increasing the supply when there wasn't enough demand. And so that is really why, from an internal perspective, I'm so stoked on the toys for us and what that means for our long-term horizon, because that just shows that we can be sustainable and that we can grow an evergreen business. And we'll never have to put the digital ecosystem and compromise that ecosystem because we need money or we're running out of money. And this is where I think the space is today. I think there's two really big inflection points. And one, now is the time to deliver output. I think you will be rewarded when liquidity comes back. And two, you have to put an emphasis on making real money. Because if you ultimately can't make real money, you will either lose, fail, or close down shop, or you'll just make more mints and fundraise the only way that you know how to in NFTs and Web3, which ultimately is just going to screw the holders and just blow the whole thing up.
Yeah.
And so that's the moment I think we're in.
Totally, Luke. And I've given up on, just trying to preach the value of business in the NFT space. I think that it's going to kind of like, just kind of manifest to the NFT audience in its own way, because I do think that there is a pretty robust lack of understanding that NFT projects are businesses, plain and simple. And if they're not, then they will just inevitably fail. I think Spencer had a question for you, Luca. Spencer, go ahead.
So Luca, you've been teasing a lot of stuff, the 18th, and I got some news for you, which is that today is the 18th. So what can we expect from Pudgy Penguins today? Like, what's the alpha? What's dropping? Give us something special. What can you drop on us today in front of the 1,000+ people listening concurrently right now?
Give it to us, Luca.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you. So, from our perspective, this is the beginning of really a 90-day sprint for us, where we're going to ship a lot of amazing products. So today is not the all and be all. I think it really kicks it off. And really what we're going to debut is two things. That toy line that we've been working on, partner with PMI.
Oh no, we lost him.
So
Luca,
we're debuting our toy line, which is really our mass market toy line, which is, 16 SKUs, licensed from the community, price point $5 to $25. And then that also comes with the debut of Pudgy World, which is this first iteration of this social immersive experience that we're working on, that has that whole unlockable system and integration tied with the toys. You buy a toy, you unlock loot boxes. Inside those loot boxes, it's like ripping a Topps sports cards pack. You get these awesome little traits. You can trade them. You can put them on your Soulbound Forever Pudgy. You can play some chess and a couple other games with your friends. And so this is the really missing ingredient and piece within our ecosystem in terms of how I wanted to bring people to ultimately go from, hey, I'm an Instagram user, to buying a toy, to then, getting interested in our NFTs. And it's a really big piece for us. And so those are really the two main things that we're dropping. Obviously, a bunch of amazing marketing assets that come with that. We're going to be on news stations. We won a couple awards. We're on a cover on a couple magazines. So we'll be able to share that with the world. But, at its core, Pudgy Toys and Pudgy World getting its first debut to the community, I think is really the moment for today.
Well, that's very cool. Pudgy World sounds like a metaverse, Luca, but I noticed that you didn't say the M word there. Nick, did you just unmute? Did you have any commentary here?
I did not just
did not.
unmute.
I had something to add just really quick.
Ahead,
I just unmuted, but yeah, it just after that announcement.
What did you want to say?
That's a penguin mating call, an African penguin right there. So
we didn't hear it, dude. You didn't get the you didn't get the technical stuff right, Kicks. It's okay though.
That's a penguin mating
I've got a
Conceptually, that
question.
was a funny bit, though.
Yeah, conceptually, right? It kind of went like this.
There you go, Kicks. That was better. You could have just done that the first time. Signal, please.
Yeah, Luca, I have a question. When you talk about these loot boxes being opened and then there's stuff inside it that is tradable, can you just explain a bit about where is that trading taking place for people, and is this applicable to anyone who gets the toy as well, that they can go away and trade it?
Yeah, so let me walk you through this process. You're gonna order a toy, let's say off of Amazon, and when you get that, you're gonna open it up, and inside is gonna be an awesome toy. And somewhere in that package, there's gonna be a birth certificate. And on that birth certificate, there's going to be some language basically saying you're adopting a Pudgy Penguin. You'll sign it because you sign a birth certificate to make it official. And then to the right of that, there'll be a QR code. When you scan that QR code, there'll be a redemption code. And that redemption code will lead you to Pudgy World. And once you go to Pudgy World, you will redeem, you'll sign up via Custody Wallet Solutions. So you'll input an email, you'll get a verification code, you'll put in the verification code, and you would have made an account. And so we'll give you a Polygon wallet. All you need is an email address and access to that email. Once you're in, you'll be brought to a 3D Pudgy Penguin character builder. To the left, you'll have, an arcade, a couple places that you can go, but you'll also have a redeem traits button. And so you'll go to that button, you'll input the trait box code that you got from the QR code from scanning your birth certificate. You'll input that code and you'll unlock a loot box. And so what you'll do is once you have that loot box, you'll click that you want to open it, and then you'll basically rip a pack. And so there are these cards ranging from 3 to 6 in each loot box. Each one of these traits range from common to mythical. And based on the rarity, you just see if you can snag a rare. And so you'll rip the box, you'll see what you get, and based on the traits that you have, you'll go and apply it to your Pudgy Penguin. Once you apply it to your 3D Pudgy, the Pudgy itself is soul-bound. And so this is really interesting because I thought to myself, well, I wanted to create a mass market digital collectible product. I didn't want that to be dilutive to my core collection. I wanted it to be additive. And the way that we kind of solved for that is we solved for it by making the 3D Pudgy soul-bound. So again, another kind of little moment of history. First mass market soul-bound NFT product. If you want to, throw that angle in there. But once you actually put the traits onto your 3D Pudgy Penguin, you can't buy, sell, or trade it. And so you can have a Pudgy Penguin digital collectible, but this one has none of the perks that the Ethereum one has, right? No access to events, no, appreciating in price and value, no licensing and monetization opportunities, but you have an identity, right? You're a part of the Pudgy Penguin in some fashion. And you can wear that as your profile picture. Dreezus recently changed his profile picture. He was at the office yesterday and went through the whole process and ripped actually a pretty crazy trait, a mythical, skin trait, which was actually never happened before, believe it or not, that I've seen actually. And so, you then have this identity, then you can kind of go around and, make a profile, add friends, multiplayer games where you can play with other people. Again, very simple games. I think the first one we're debuting with is chess. And so anybody want to get whooped in chess today, I'll be dropping some links, so definitely make an account, as well as a bunch of little interactive multiplayer experiences. And then if you want to trade the traits, we have a marketplace that we built that's live, that's going to be live on our website, that you can basically, trade the traits, use a credit card, via Polygon, sell it for USD or Matic or whatever you would prefer. And then all of a sudden, you've now purchased this toy for $15, unlocked traits that might be worth $5 a piece, $3 a piece, probably covering the cost of your toy. And then you've gotten access to this whole collector's experience. interacting with other penguins around the world on this like multiplayer engaging little platform. And again, it's really the foundation for us. And so one of the reasons why we raised was because we really wanted to like develop this experience further, and we just didn't have the capital to do it. And so it's really the foundation in the first iteration of what ultimately will be, a world where you can take this character from this toy, take these traits, and then go walk around with this character and engage in the Berg, which is the name of our world. Our world.
You're bringing me back to my childhood. Instead of Club Penguin, it's gonna be Club Pudgy.
Club Pudgy.
Be in it.
Love to hear it. And, it's very interesting to see the emphasis on physical collectibles, which I think is a very natural, angle for NFT businesses to take because they are just inherently digital collectibles. Obviously, we saw Bored Ape Yacht Club partner with Super Plastic. That was just a single drop, but it seems like that was a pretty well-received and successful drop. Today, I mean, there's the Invisible Friends physical collectibles drop. So I'm actually very interested to see how that one goes. They're taking a different approach, right? They're more like limited run, almost like a cause statue type of thing, whereas you guys are doing the mass market thing. I think both are very interesting ideas, the mass market versus the limited run. I'm going to be paying close attention to both to see how they play out. But I mean, that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Big thank you to Luca Netz coming on the day of his big announcement and sharing some information with us about what's coming with Pudgy. Go ahead, Spencer.
Yeah, real quick. So, Luca, there are some Pudgy toys up on Amazon currently. Are those the official Pudgy toys, or is that relistings? Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, those are relistings from our distributor. So we basically we have our own official listings releasing. And again, to give you guys some context, sorry, Pio, I know you're ending the show.
All good.
But I'm purposely debuting on Amazon for a good reason. I won't share the secret sauce with 1,000 people, but that's kind of our focus. So the listings that are live right now are not official. That stuff will be live in the next 5-6 hours.
Okay,
so
but
we're gonna be on Prime, right?
Yeah, are we dropping an NFT today?
Oh, we got it. I can't, man, I need to like put a post-it on the computer or something and be like, don't end the show without dropping the free NFT. Clemente, please let us know the free NFT, buddy. The password for today is ROAD45, ROAD 45. Go to the nifty.com/claim and enter the password to claim today's free NFT. We're claiming the free NFT, ladies and gentlemen. Go to the nifty.com/claim. ROAD45 is the code. This is the second free NFT in the CyberDog 4269 series. It's called Road Rage. The year 4269 has no shortage of challenges. Getting around town can be a battle in itself. Cyber Buddy is just trying to do CyberDog stuff with his friends, but Mex and Mayhem seem to follow him everywhere he goes. What's a CyberDog got to do to get a cyber bone around here? You know what I mean? So there you go. There's the copy for the free NFT. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the NFT Morning Show. We run the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you got an account at thenifty.com to claim the free NFTs that we give away almost every single day on this show. The show is also available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. So if you want to share the show with people outside of the Twitter world, we appreciate it. And you can follow the NFT Morning Show account, which is hosting this show on Twitter right now, to get access to all those links in one convenient place. Big thank you to Luca Netz, the